so second part of Ask the Pros is going to be CEOs and influencers. I'm going to go down the line, introduce who they are. We're going to do the same thing, exactly what we did, who they're affiliated with. Check. And then we'll open it up to you guys. All right? Then we'll go to the class. All right, last minute addition, I added Brian Icolina. We go by Ike, Big Ike. He is the CEO of Pro Subs, Vice President, founder. Just hate on me if I get it wrong, all right? So I don't have a question for you. So let's just open it up and just an introduction, how long Pro Subs has been around. Just tell us a little bit more about the brand. So take it over.
Well, thank you everybody for being here. I'm one of the co-founders of Pro Subs. We started the business in February 2012. I've been in the industry probably close to 15 years. I worked for another brand for about 8 years. I won't bore you with the details there, but long story short, it didn't work out. There was another company by the name of Professional Supplements. Anybody familiar with that company? It was owned by one of the largest bodybuilders of all time, Art Atwood. He unfortunately passed away September 11th, 2011. And if anybody remembers Professional Supplements, they were probably most known for a product called Carbolin back in the day, which is now made by EFX. Art was a big believer in carb loading, glucose, insulin sensitivity and things like that. He was probably 300 plus pounds on stage when he competed at the Olympia. So he's one of the biggest guys to step on stage. He had a small company rented out in McKinney, Texas. And when he had passed away, his sister inherited the business. She was a teacher from Wisconsin. Obviously didn't know much about supplements or anything like that. And Carbolin was a pretty big product back in this time. So she had a lot of people asking for product. Retailers were trying to get their hands on product. My partner, TJ Humphreys, used to own a distribution company called Lone Star Distribution. They're also based out of Texas, and TJ used to let Art run his business out of a little office in his distribution company in Texas. So Art and TJ became really close. Art taught TJ basically protocol, posing, diet, training techniques, and TJ started to compete, did a few shows himself, but Art and TJ became really close. So when Art passed away, his sister started going through a bunch of her brother Art's journals, and TJ's name was in the journals a few times. And she reached out to TJ. TJ was actually working with me at the other company at this time. This is probably October, November 2011. And she asked him if he wanted to buy the company and kind of keep it going. He's like, TJ was on the verge of having his third child at the time. He has 6 now, so he's come a long way. But he was like, I'm not really looking to get back into that type of thing. I'm at this other company right now, but really not something I'm interested. Fast forward into 2012, the other company, things kind of hit the fan, and he pulled me aside and said, Ike, I'm going to buy that company, Professional Supplements. I want you to come run it with me. And I knew a few products under Professional Supplements. Other than that, didn't know much. But when one door closes, a new door opens, and 3 or 4 of us from that other company, we walked out and we started Pro Subs. So. We started in a small little office. There were 6 of us, and we had some of Art's products still in the warehouse. Some of the products that he had back then we still make today, like iLoad and things like that, which are still around today. But we came up with a new logo, changed the packaging, literally unwrapped some bottles, poured into some new red bottles, and in theory started a brand new company in Pro Subs. Close to 8 years in now. It's been a fun ride. Hasn't been easy. Starting a bit. The past couple of years has gotten really competitive. There's a lot of brands to choose from out there at the end of the day. But I think as a consumer in this industry, when you identify who you want to spend your money on and the type of products you want to spend on, I think you really look at the people involved in the company, and do the people in the company eat, breathe, and live that lifestyle. And if anybody doesn't know TJ Humphreys, he's 47 years old. Guy still looks phenomenal. He's got 6 kids. We travel 100,000 miles a year, not just domestically, but internationally with this brand. But it's been fun. Probably in over 50 countries around the world right now. Some markets that are really growing. I heard China when I was walking in. Asia's one of the biggest growing markets currently at this moment. But it's been a fun ride. Any questions?
And so this is like the speed round. So that was supposed to be a minute.
Speed.
You missed that first part. It's all good. It's all good. But we're going to go try to keep it to a minute this first part, then we'll open it up to everybody, and then we can just get into all kinds of details. All right, so the next up, everybody knows him as Gorilla Chemist. Gorilla Chemist is now CEO, founder of Chemix. He made a big name with Blackstone Labs and formulation, but now he's got his own brand. So my question for you is, what are the current challenges or the biggest challenges in growing a new brand that's under your name?
I think the biggest challenges are getting the products that I make, which are very unique and high dosed and not for everybody, to try and get that into the people that I want to take them and the people that want to take them. It's not a product for the masses. We're not going to be one of those companies. So right now my biggest challenge is I want to get international. I think that there is a market for things that, I know everyone uses the term scientifically based evidence-based, but I really actually do research all of those things, and I have done some of those studies and stuff like that. So the biggest challenge to me is finding exactly who my real demographic is and making products that I can get into their hands, both domestically and abroad.
Awesome. Check. All right, good luck. All right, next up, Sean Torbati, CEO of HPN, Ambrosia, and True Nutrition. He's got partnerships in some of those. Mike's next to him, partnership for Ambrosia. So you're part of more than one brand now, or lead more than one brand.
Yes.
How do you balance the attention given to each brand?
I really don't, to be honest with you. It fluctuates by the season, and meaning like when one brand has a lot more going on, it will get more of my time. It's impossible to truly focus on all the brands all at once. So I match effort with effort. And the quickest example I can give is that when Mike put aside what he had going on previously and we dove into Ambrosia head on, I reduced my effort in HPN and even moved some products over, because you cannot truly, if you have similar product sets, you can't truly give 100% to all of them. You're going to end up choosing. And so I match effort with effort, and Mike and I have a great partnership along with Mark in Ambrosia, and so we put a ton of effort there over the last few months. So you put the effort where the return is there on the effort, and Ambrosia is where that is right now.
Awesome. All right, Mike, is your partner and CEO in Ambrosia. So Mike, this question that came up with you is deeper. I know you're really philosophical, right? So what do you think is your most influential, profound mental jewel or life advice? Something that can apply to anyone and change their circumstance.
Well, that's a loaded question because it depends on what the circumstance is, right? My philosophy of life is really simple. I've been through a lot, right? A lot. Probably about, what were we, 2019, 2011, I was homeless, right? I went from having a lot of money to having nothing. Homeless people, they're just homeless. They're like, whatever, it's cool. But when you have everything and then you immediately have nothing, it's hard, right? So that was a test for me. Excuse me. I feel like I was given, without all the details, a nice grace period to really see who I really am. And, my father always taught me, he said, when you're going through difficult times, that's when you develop character. So when you're going through difficult times is when you smile, when you treat people good, try to do the right thing. That's how you grow. When everything's peachy and everybody got money and everything is good, that's not character building. That's a reward, right? The real work is when times are rough, difficult, when things are not ideal. How do you deal with that? So, I always remembered that, and it was really hard for me to deal with things the right way when all odds are stacked against me and I had nothing, and nobody at that time. So, nothing, like anything, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew who I was and where I wanted to be in life. So I just took my situation and fixed it. I just did it. Sean and I have a partnership with Ambrosia and a couple other businesses. But before that, I started a business myself without having this kind of access to people, right? Social media, asking questions. I just figured it out with Google, right? And just testing things on myself and people around me. And I figured it out, right? And I'm proud of what I've done on my own. I mean, I'm proud of what I'm doing now with the J Partnership, but you know, it's all on me, whatever happens in my life, and then everybody out here is all on them. Guy said something earlier that makes so much sense about people posting whatever they're posting, like people care. Nobody cares. Just like when we're going through shit, nobody cares. So it's pointless to cry. I'm telling you know, we're all gonna go through things, right? There's different types of people in this world. We all have our ideal path of our bottom line, right? But the world don't give a shit about our path and our plans. So roadblocks will pop up to impede that. Some people will just see that roadblock and quit, but you can't, right? You figure out a way to get around it or go through it, you know? You just gotta put in your mind like, nothing is stopping me. You figure it out. The end game, the bottom line, you get there however you get there. So I got pretty good at that because I had so many obstacles to deal with. So I just tell people all the time, like, listen, whatever you gotta do, whatever you need to do, just do it. You know, don't cry to everybody. Don't tell everybody how bad your situation is, just fix it. Do what you gotta do to fix it. Nobody can give you advice. Everybody know what they need to do in life, right? So, you know, it's all about really dialing in and just figuring it out. You know, I know that sounds kind of simple, just figure it out, but it's literally, that's it. You know what I mean? With anything that you want to do in life.
Yeah, sometimes really is that simple. Thank you, thank you. All right, next we have Lauren Finley. Lauren is an NPC figure competitor. She is an Evagen athlete, and she is a very influential female in the industry. So you have spoken publicly about mental health, and you speak for women a lot of times and empowering women. So there are dozens of people who probably deal with this as well. So when you wake up in a funk, what do you do to get back on the right track?
Okay, hi everybody. Thank you guys for having me for the second year. So yeah, I am very open about dealing with anxiety and depression and things like that, and how social media can kind of elevate those things at times. So when I'm in a funk, like I wake up on the wrong side of the bed or something like that, I think it's really important to take a time out especially from your phone. Don't start the day scrolling through social media. That's the number one thing. So for me, I wake up, I take my dog outside. My dog's my best friend. If you follow me, you know that. So I wake up, I take the dog out, I leave the phone in our house, and I just don't connect myself until I feel like I'm ready to do so, until I feel like I'm in a good headspace. I'll go, run my errands and do my thing, and I just try to listen to a good podcast or just get myself in the right frame of mind. I'll read for a little bit, but the biggest thing is to just not connect yourself to social media, especially if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and you see a negative comment from somebody and you're already in that funk, then it kind of sits with you more. So don't connect yourself to the world until you feel like you're in a good place to do so, because sometimes it can just kind of add to the stress. So just take some time, breathe, do some things for yourself, and then just get to it when you feel more ready, I guess.
Perfect. It's good. It's good. All right, next, Julian Smith. Julian, you're very influential in the Instagram world, the supplement industry now, the fitness industry. You are now a partner in Arms Race Nutrition. You own Clifford Linux. So we had a question for you, but we're going to change it up, throw curveballs. All right? So we want you to reciprocate of what Guy was speaking on a lot about selfies in the gym, videos in the gym. Because that's what you do. That's
my ass shots.
Your ass shots, your quad shots. That's what it's all about. So speak on that and how important that was for you to grow not only your following, but to grow businesses out of that.
Yeah, so for the and thank you everybody for having us. Doug, especially for everyone having us out here and being so cool. This is really awesome. But one thing that I always talk about is anybody can do the social media thing with bodybuilding. You shouldn't be on your phone during your workouts though. It wasn't until this last year that I was able to hire one of my best friends to actually film me. But my entire growth from 0 to about like, I'd say 500,000 followers was asking old people at the gym to videotape me. And they would do it wrong 10 times. And I'd be like, well, I'm not gonna video today. But it's all about that thing. But we were actually talking, before I was talking to Kenton about this, but I used to wake up before most people got out of bed, and I would write my entire captions for days. And I would have my week planned out for what I was gonna do, what video I was gonna do on chest day, what exercise I was gonna do on leg day, what I was gonna do for shoulders. Pictures, everything, I'd have it all planned out. So there was, because I ran my family's trucking company for 7 years before I could ever do anything full-time in fitness. So I really respect someone like, and I went up to Guy Cisternino because I've followed him from his come up. I watched him turn pro a long time ago, you know, but that type of like, did I follow people like, you know, Mountain Dog, you know, Chris Duffin's down the street from me. I like these kind of guys because they were able to grow a following while still bodybuilding. And one of the, I don't know who said it, someone said something really, like it was really smart, but it's I think it was Amanda might have said it, but it was everyone who's below 30, I know like everyone else is there's some young people out here, but if you're like below 25, you know, years old, I truly feel like people are getting into bodybuilding to be famous or make a living. Like, I got into bodybuilding just because I really liked it, and there was no outlet. Like, it was either be in a magazine or there was nothing else. So you just kind of get into it because you love doing it, but now you have this entire flock of people that are not only getting on Instagram to make money, but they're not even bodybuilding. It's more like body maintaining because you're trying to stay shredded 24/7 at 17, and it's like you're gonna look like a stick figure your entire life, if that's what you're doing, you know what I mean? So I think what's really cool about what Guy said and a lot of people talked about is you can totally do this. Everybody here that is talking did something with social media while still bodybuilding. I'm not a pro, I don't even really compete anymore. I think I will again one day, it's just not on the docket. But you can do all this stuff, but you need to put if you love bodybuilding, your phone should not be with you. You know what I mean? Some of the most anxiety, mad, I've tossed dumbbells across my gym, I've been so freaking mad. And it's all because I'm on my phone during my workout. That's why I was like, dude, I gotta get somebody in here to help me. Casey was doing it for a while, I was ruining her workouts. So I'm like, we gotta make smart choices about this. If I'm gonna continue to do this, you need to spend money in the right places to invest in your business, you know? But a lot of people have been able to grow, but people do it the wrong way. They got their goddamn phone on them, and in between sets, they're looking at it. Slade, just like, I forgot who said, I think it was Guy, again, but he said that his camera guy holds his phone. Slade takes my phone, I don't look at it until I'm done. All of my videos, he'll film my entire workout, film everything I'm gonna do, and then when the entire workout's done, I'll go through 30 videos, chop everything down that I like, chop everything down that I don't like, get rid of a bunch of stuff, post 7 of them, move on with my day. So I think making smart moves like that and like allocating your time to the right areas, but if you're doing social media shit while you're working out, you're never gonna be a bodybuilder. So.
Awesome. Good response. Okay, Dr. Jeff Galini is the CEO for EFX. So Jeff, how did you get started in the supplement industry? How did EFX start? What are advice for entrepreneurs here in the audience?
Oh, that's a good question, and a little more than a minute, but I'll try to keep it short. I was a bodybuilder a long time ago, back in the 80s, and back then, there was no money in the sport. As you've heard from these athletes, we did it because we loved the sport. I was a former high school All-American in football, basketball, track. I played 4 years of college football, got injured my senior year, didn't go into the NFL, and one of my guys in my hometown said, hey, you should try bodybuilding. Entered a show, won it, got hooked, moved out to Venice Beach, Gold's Gym, and I did that for 10 years. But one of the things I found was, having a science background, there were no supplements that helped me. So I started to look at what could help me as an athlete, and back then the protein was just nasty tasting. I mean, we didn't have sucralose and all these things. We had a terrible milk and eggs. So I found a manufacturer that helped me take the calcium caseinate and press it into tablets. So that I could use those myself. I take 100 a day, and I thought, well, if I can now come up with a label, go into the gym, sell enough to pay for my own, that would be awesome. And that's kind of how it started. I did it out of my apartment in Venice Beach, California. One thing led to the next, brought in another product. Pretty soon stores started to call me, asking me for catalogs, and I didn't know anything about that. And about a year and a half into it, I thought, I think I can do this full time. I got my first office. and things just grew from there. You know, today, All American Pharmaceutical is our manufacturing facility, 150,000 square foot, one of the nicest facilities in the country, state of the art, and then EF Exports is how it started. But the name has changed over the years, and of course, with the introduction of Creoplin, it really put the brand on the map.
Cool, that was good. Just over a minute and a half. It's good. Thank you. All right, I made Doug sit down. So we're adding Doug to the panel. Everybody knows who Doug is because he is putting on the event, but CEO of Core Nutritionals, America Labs, America Energy, the Nutrition Corners, and then now a partner with Arms Race Nutrition. So Doug, when you started, you had one brand and you had yourself. Now you have multiple brands, multiple employees. So what are 3 things that you look for in people as you continue to grow this ever-growing thing here?
One of these goes right to what Mike said, the ability to figure things out. There's freaking Google. If you can't figure it out these days, like, come on. So I don't need the smartest team members, you know, I don't need except for you, Ken, you need to be smart.
I'm not that smart.
Yeah, he's not that smart, so okay.
On the podcast, will be the Not So Smart podcast. If you're not that smart out there, you'll be featured on the episode.
But yeah, so the ability to figure things out. So you might not have all the skills, but you need to know how to figure things out. That's number one. That was one of the things I remember when I hired Pat to be a manager at one of our stores. You know, he really had no idea what the heck he was doing. He still doesn't really know what he's doing. But no, he figured it out. And then he went on to run multiple stores. He figured it out. And then he got promoted to the national sales manager for all our brands. He had no idea what he was doing, and now he figured it out. And so that's one of the biggest things I look for. I mean, with Google these days, you gotta have that. Another thing that I look for is passion. You know, you have to have a passion for what you're doing. And I think this is really related to, you can call this the same thing or the second or third thing. People have to be on our team equally yoked. And what I mean by that is they have to have the same why. Their why might be slightly different, but they have to believe in my why. At the end of the day, that's, you know, how all of these things grow. You know, the great book, I mean, I just reread it for the second or third time, Start With Why, and it's so important. So the idea is you have to start with why. The why is your belief. The how are the things or the actions that get you to the what. The what is just the results. You know, people don't buy products. They don't buy core nutritional products. They buy the why, buy the mission of us, to live the Crush It lifestyle, be the best you that you can be in everything you do. So if you don't have other people around you that believe in that same why, you'll never be successful. You can't do it on your own. So every single person, all our team members here, I mean, this is gonna be my time to brag. I was so proud about everything that went on because of all of you guys saying, the biggest compliment you guys have given me is how amazing every single staff member was here. They were thankful to be here. They loved it. I mean, it gives me chills thinking about it because they believe in our mission. And that is the biggest compliment I can get when people talk about our staff. And so guys, thank you. You're the best.
All right. So we're gonna help you out with the left side. All right, now it is your time. We're gonna open it up. We're gonna do our best, answer as many questions as possible. So who's gonna put their hand up first? Ask the first question. All right, my man right here.
Stay seated. All right, guys. Each one of y'all have your own brands. If it wasn't your brand that you were taking, which brand up on the panel would you choose? And why? We can start with Doug.
Love it. That's a great question. Jeff, do you want to hand it to Doug or you want to answer yourself?
I got an answer, but you wanted Doug first, so.
They're all great. I love them. They're the best. They just make a massive staff. Do the right thing. What, Kennix? I mean, honestly, at this point in time, just because we have so many different brands under our umbrella, at the end of the day, I'm designing products around what I want to take. You guys design, and this is why I love your brands. You guys design products around what you want to take. And everyone sitting up here uses all their products. That's kind of rare. You know, there's a lot of CEOs out there that don't even take the products or don't even work out. This panel is completely different. So to be honest with you, right now, my cabinet is filled with the 4 brands that we have, but I've used every brand up here, and I really do enjoy using all these products because I can trust it, because of the people, because of their why. I believe in, they all have their own mission, and I believe what they're doing. So, I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's the truth.
Retail Doug. Everybody loves Retail Doug.
And one of the advantages that I have, might be a little selfish, but having our own manufacturing, our own laboratory, I only take what we produce. And again, there are a lot of good brands like these, and there are a lot of poor brands out there. So if it's something that's not on one of our brands, it may be something that we produce for another customer. If not, again, I can go into the lab and produce exactly what I want for myself. So a little selfish, but.
True.
So I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday, and but the way that I described it was I have a lot of trust in Doug. I've actually been a huge believer in Doug since I started getting into bodybuilding. I always watched the up and coming, whoever the best natural bodybuilder was at the time, still is fucking Doug. What was really cool is the guy was like, well, I'm literally representing Arms Race Nutrition for the first time, and this guy comes up and he's like, well, what makes your supplement brand better than everyone else's? And I looked at him, I go, to be completely honest, man, I go, I have so much faith in Doug and his team. I go, nobody at this tent, nobody in this setup is gonna have. You're gonna be good at anybody's booth, you know what I mean? Whatever you buy, you're probably gonna be okay, because Doug's not gonna associate himself with a company that's poor, you know what I mean? Not poor like money, but poor quality, don't care about the customers and stuff like that. So there's a big going through it with a fine-tooth comb of who is actually gonna be here. So that's my belief in Doug. But for the most part, that's my thing. That's what I say all the time. So I was with Optimum for a long time, tried bodybuilding.com, I'm not gonna say anything rude. But I actually before any sponsors or anything, I did use Core Nutritionals. I used it for the longest time, and not to mention Arms Race Nutrition only has 4 products right now. So I'm using all these other brands. I'm using, Miracle Labs, whey protein. I like the joint support from, it's crazy, but I still use the packs from the Animal Pack, where the joint support, you know what I mean? So I like doing that kind of stuff. That's what's really fun about all the different brands. If I don't have a joint support, am I just supposed to suck it up? You go out there and try the stuff that you like, So there's a lot of cool stuff out there, but the longest thing that I've ever been with while being with other brands has been the Core Nutrition stuff. So
Anybody else? Keep going.
Do we all?
I think you asked everybody.
Oh, sorry.
However you want to do it.
He's like a new
Me personally, I take my stuff. But when I do recommend other brands, it's Mountain Dog, is Granite, and also it's not here for Cage Nutrition, Chris Gethin. He has products that I've taken, getting ready for fights and stuff like that. But I respect both of those guys a lot, and I know they both know their stuff, and I trust them 1,000,000%. So those are the brands.
Cool. Love it.
I have a really hard time, probably like Dr. Jeff, because I have such an intimate involvement in the manufacturing process. And I know how many different ways that the quality and integrity of products can be compromised on purpose or on accident, because most brands don't really even know how their products are made. They submit an order and that's it. They don't handle any aspect of their supply chain or finished product testing. So they really don't know any more than you do what's in their products. So the caveat for me, if it wasn't going to be our products, would be that I know the owner of that company and I know how they manufacture, where they manufacture, what type of testing and quality control they do. That's why I have a product like Core, MTS, and of course all of our brands. If I'm putting it in my body, it's just, there's way too much stuff that can go wrong. So I want that quality control to be something that is paramount to the owner of that company and to the operations of that company. And that's why products like those are ones that I would trust. Because going in my body, it's not a t-shirt, if I'm gonna consume it, I wanna know that that level of care has been taken in manufacturing it. So that's what I look for.
I'll keep this quick because I know we hit on all this stuff. I think brands you should look for that educate a lot. I know Doug is huge on educating, John is huge on educating people on how these ingredients actually work in your body, what things you can take together, what things you cannot take together. When I was younger, 18, 19, just starting to work out, I thought all supplement companies had chemists that made their products. So that's why I went to school for chemistry. And I found out that that's farthest thing from the truth. So there are brands out there that just throw a bunch of stuff like the kitchen sink in there and you take it, and there are products that are made very meticulously, like granite, like core. I try and put a lot of effort into the stuff I do, try and find new stuff that nobody's using out there, and stuff like Doug said and like Julian said, stuff that we take personally. So I design stuff that I think is cool, that I like, that it's experiential to me, that it gives a feeling to me that I think this is something I believe in. The research backs it up and stuff like that. So the biggest thing, again, not to quote Doug again, but it's the people behind the brand too. You gotta trust them, and as a person, and if their integrity is there, trust their manufacturing, trust that they can educate you on the products, and they know what they're talking about, and they're not just using like Google to figure out, oh, this ingredient does this or that. They actually took the time to read the studies and read, is this a BS study or is this a legit study? Because there's
Did
a
you
lot.
hear me earlier? I said just Google it, man.
I'm sorry, Wikipedia, is that better? Because anyone can put on Wikipedia, but yes, the why. Doug really nailed it with that. If you believe in the person behind the brand, then I think you should use their products. And if you don't trust them, if you don't believe in them, then I think you should find someone that you do.
Yeah, so not to be redundant, everybody's touching on the same thing here with people behind the brand and, buying brands with owners that, there's a lot of brands out there, there's a lot of products and shelves in these stores, and, if you don't know who the CEO, vice president, or people that are in that brand, do they live the lifestyle? That's probably a miss at the end of the day. Everybody in this panel, I've probably tried everybody's products here. This guy next to me, probably one of the smartest dudes out there. I've watched him fall up in the industry, whether it's Hani and his training programs, Mike, Julian, I got people in my office that follow your workouts, bro. Carbon still sits in my cabinet today. Obviously, one of the things that Art goes back on and what Doug's done. But we used to make our own products. So we used to do a lot of contract manufacturing in the house. And I think that's a big thing to touch on, the quality of the brand and, the procedures and SOPs that companies follow. You'd be probably shocked that there's a lot of products out there that what's on the label is not in the product. And that's unfortunate in this industry. So, because you are getting ripped off. If you're paying for something on label and it's not in there, or vice versa, there's something in there that shouldn't be in there as well. So I think, events like this that the guys put on, seeing the people behind the company, I think it's a big deal. Having access to social media, it's pretty easy to find out who's behind a brand. There's a big shift. It's not so much ambassador driven anymore. It's owned and operated brands by influencers and people that have their own brand. They live that lifestyle. They're not paying somebody to represent their brand. So, in short.
Cool, love it. So next question, let's try to keep it to one or two people on the panel, so that way we can get more questions in. I keep cutting out. Check. All right. Becca.
My question is specifically for Lauren. How do you stay true to staying modest on social media and like producing pure content?
That's a good question, and that's one that I get a lot. So I don't post much provocative content, if you will, and that's always just been a personal choice. I don't hate on women who are more provocative. Do your thing. Just for me, it's always been, it's pretty simple. I have an older brother and I have a father, and to me, if I couldn't show either of them a picture of myself, I'm not putting it on the internet. I have extreme amounts of respect for my family and for my friends and for my husband. So if I'm putting a photo on the internet that is gonna make me uncomfortable in that way, or if my dad saw that and I was like, ooh, like that's awkward, then I'm not putting it on the internet. And that's just a personal choice. Again, if you're a woman who likes to show off more of themselves, power to you, love it, just not for me.
All right, good answers. Moving on, next question. Left side. Strong side, Morgan.
I don't really care who answers it. You can pick. If fitness per se disappeared tomorrow, what would your dream job be?
College professor. I think education is very important, and this country is falling behind in education, and it really sucks. There's not a lot of people interested in science anymore, and mathematics, and I think that's important to understand how the universe works and how everything works, especially in this industry that you're taking things that go inside your body. You should have some general idea of how they work. So if fitness went away tomorrow and Instagram was gone, I absolutely would get a job as a college professor if I could.
So would you keep the same hair color?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say something on that too. I think that if I didn't do anything with Instagram, Case and I joke about this like all the time, but I think if everything just stopped, Instagram shuts off, no more business, no nothing, I would just turn my gym into a training studio and I would train. I really love training, and I think people nowadays, might have been Guy, might have been John Meadows, but people don't know how to train nowadays. They don't do it right, they don't go hardcore enough, and that's literally why our gym that we started was private to ourselves, because I didn't want to work out around people that brought me down from my high from training. Literally hired one of my best friends to be my training partner, and we're in there with our dogs. I created an environment that's fun for me, so I don't have to be clouded by the 24-hour or the Planet Fitness bullshit. So I would easily have no problem training every single day, 7 days a week, people, and teaching them how to actually work out, because I think people don't realize what it's like to look in the mirror at themselves and be happy with how they look. And I used to look in the mirror and like see how I look and be like, man, I'm not really stoked with how I look. And when you don't like how you look, it's a pretty damn lonely feeling. So everyone can, bodybuilding is based off of your own hard work, nobody else. So your physique is built just from yourself. You know, you can't make my legs bigger, you know? It's all on you. So if you could change your thought process of like how you can actually learn how to bodybuild and do it the right way, you'll be good to go. So that's what I would do, is actually be able to teach in like one-on-one, no more masses with Instagram and everything, and teach people how to do it the right way.
I think, again, in life, you always got to have a plan B. When you've been doing this as long as me, I started this company in 1985, I've seen changes which really have halted and stopped the fitness industry. When things completely change, and we talked a little bit about this, in the old days it was the magazines. When the magazines disappeared, if all you knew how to do was be in a magazine, you ceased to desist. And a lot of people who were bodybuilders back then, were poor. They didn't figure out how to move on to the next stage. The same thing when the internet started. We had to learn how to adjust. So again, with anything you do in life, you need to learn how to adjust, and when you have a setback, you have to learn how to take a step back, and kind of reevaluate what you're going to do. You should never quit, but you got to readjust where you're going and how you're going to do it. A lot of times there's more than one road to continue to do what you love. So we know that fitness per se is never going to stop. Will the internet, social media stop? It's gonna. Something else will come out in the future, just like we've seen things changes. And again, in order to survive longevity, you need to learn how to make changes and adapt to what's going on with today's world.
Really good answer. Really good answer. All right. Next question. Next question. Give me a hand. Muffin Palm coming through.
So my question is for Road Chemist, and it's about traveling with your animal. Like, what is it like? Do you run into any issues, like accommodating, like anything like that? Because I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday.
Traveling with her helps me a lot, which is why I have her, and specifically for flying, I get very claustrophobic. I haven't had any issues. I have my doctor's notes and everything's on my phone. I redacted the reason why I have her because they don't need to know that. And I've never really had any issues with it. So at the airports, I know what to do. As far as they swipe your hands, you walk the metal detector, you'll go through the x-ray, all that stuff. So as long as you read on the airline guidelines and stuff like that, how to travel with an animal, you'll be fine. I was very bummed I couldn't take her to Australia because they quarantine over there for a few months, so I wouldn't be able to take her there. So hopefully we can go maybe to England or something together. I just really want to get her an experience. She loves people, as all of you have seen. Lauren.
I love her.
So I just want to make animals happy, and I love these dogs to death. So it's fun.
Real cool. Real cool. All right. Questions? Come on, guys.
I got a question for Julie.
Just go for it, man. You loud.
Yeah. Julie, I've been following you for like before you even had the quadguy.com.
Yeah.
And so I tell people about you all the time. What has been the biggest challenge? Because it seems like you've kind of just been on this streamline up in the fitness industry. You're the new kid on the block, but you're also like, you're everywhere. What's been the biggest challenge in the last 4 years for you?
I mean, this might be really funny, but like, and this is probably gonna open up like controls and stuff, but like, I just hate how people can like, I've got like pretty tough skin. Like I love what I do. I'm very fortunate to do what I do. Like I said, before anything happened with bodybuilding, I was running my family's trucking company. So when I'm able to do this, it's like every day that I can wake up and just train is awesome. But when you're not like, if anyone's ever heard this story, I got sponsored by Optimum Nutrition, and I didn't even have Instagram at the time. And my athlete manager was like, "You should probably get Instagram." And I was like, "I don't like that." Literally, it was like, "I don't really like social media that much." And he's like, "Well, you can't be on the team if you don't have it." I'm like, "Okay, I'll make one." You know what I mean? So that's how weird that is. But what my biggest obstacle has been like, what I really liked about bodybuilding when I first got into it was the camaraderie. You know what I mean? It was like De La Rosa and Guy Cicerino were like, they were talking about how they're competing against their buddies, you know, but you're homies afterwards, you know? But what I don't like is how many people like can just come over to your page and kind of talk shit. That's where I have like a really big issue with social media, because it's like, you know, that person's never gonna say that to your face. And they're gonna come over and like kind of talk crap. And I just have never been one of those people that would look over at somebody that, you know, has a bad haircut or dirty shoes or they're overweight and be like, "Man, I should probably let that guy know he's fat." I gotta let that guy know. He probably doesn't know that yet. You know what I mean? I'll be the first to let him know that he should take some time off on his legs. You know what I mean? It's like, I think it's just an opportunity for people to put their shitty opinion out. And I think my biggest issue, and this is where Casey comes in for quality control, is I'll fucking lose it, man. I'm just like, dude, let's meet up. I'll be at the Olympia in a couple weeks, man. Let's all hang. And it's like, Casey's like, "You can't say that." You know what I mean? God forbid they do show up or something like that. But like, I think that's one of my issues. A lot of people probably run into the same stuff. Even if you don't consider yourself an influencer, dude, you got a couple 100,000 followers, you're an influencer. I don't care if you're an IFBB pro, you're an influencer. If you have 10,000 people that follow you and 10,000 people start doing what you do, you're influencing them. If you have 500 followers, they're gonna do it. But I think my big issue is being true to myself. I remember thinking like, man, I don't want to do a bunch of stuff that everybody else is doing, so I get skyrocketed to the top. Like, I really like when people will come like into my, like, I'm so open and honest about who I am. Dude, I smoke weed, smoke cigars, I drink, you know, alcohol. I almost said a lot of alcohol, that was weird. Yeah, so I'm being carried away. But I wanted to really show who I was. Dude, I didn't post shredded videos of me 24/7. I got chubby in my off season. And I was like, how am I gonna make my Instagram work if I'm not shredded like everybody else? I'm like, well, I'm gonna post informative stuff so people can actually, like, they'll bypass the fact that I'm 20 pounds above stage weight, 30, 40 pounds above stage weight, and they're gonna appreciate that I'm actually trying to help them regardless. Because if you're only posting bullshit ass cheeks, you know, or something like that, or just some crappy like modeling shot, you bring no value to the people that follow you, you know what I mean? And I have a lot of pride, and Bradley Martin said this to me one time, and I think the exact thing that he said was, would you rather have 1 million followers and no one cares about you, or would you rather have 500 followers and everybody loves what you do and they're influenced by what you do? I'd rather have 500 people follow me that all believe in what I do than 1 million people that talk shit on my page. So being open and honest about who I am, I know that when every single person who comes to meet me at an expo event like this, dude, they're on the same page as me. I have already offended the people that are not going to come see me. You know what I mean? They're mad, they're irritated, they're gone. They're going to bypass me and probably flip me off another table kind of thing. But when you're open and honest about everything, you're only going to get the people that vibe with you. And that was the biggest thing that I found out early on that really helped, was like, actually just be yourself. Regardless of what you think everyone's going to want, if you be yourself, dude, there's like, what, 200 million people on Instagram active? You think 100,000 people aren't going to follow you? You just got to get yourself out there, and then and once they see who you are, I guarantee anybody in here could have a massive following. You just need to put yourself out there.
Cool. Thank you. Hey, Ken, you stand up. Stand up for a second. Take over for me for 1 second. Ask a question. I've been thinking about the bathroom way too much, and my bladder's short, so I got to run to the bathroom real quick. You're the new host. Ken Dingle, everybody.
He's not coming out. No, nobody here is ready for Glenn.
Yes, I am. My phone's out.
No. Do we have any more questions? Oh, wrong one.
Look at all the questions that come out when you're up here.
Yeah. No worries.
So this question's for Lauren. Do you, as a female bodybuilder, do you think girls should train any differently than guys? Or there's one type of training, regardless if you're a girl or a guy, just give it your all?
In terms of bodybuilding specifically, I train the same as, I'm not gonna say Julian because he does some weird shit, but I train the same way as most men, I would say. I bench press, I squat, I train chest, I train arms, not often because they grow really quickly, but so I train in a way to build my physique in the way that I want it to look, but that doesn't mean not training chest or not training back or skipping body parts, because at the end of the day that's just going to result in imbalances and that's going to result in injuries. So I personally, as a woman, I think you should train the way that you want your body to look, but I think that for anybody involves hitting all of the body parts, hitting all the muscles, and just bodybuilding. Like at the end of the day, bodybuilding is what it is, and it's how you want to make your body look. So but in terms of like safety and training for a proportionate physique, do it all.
This is Mike. With us being both from Brooklyn, a lot of people in our community don't really take health and fitness as serious as they should. It's not like in the top 10 priorities thing to do. And I just want to know, as an independent trainer, what can I do to help change that narrative and just help people realize it's something that they should incorporate in their daily or weekly routines?
Well, just be with your content that you're posting, because you're training, we talked earlier. Post a lot. Remember, think about this, like, when you post, you gotta think about why would somebody tag somebody else in your post? Why would they keep coming back to you, right? So, you're not a comedian, you're not a model, you're a trainer, so you wanna post things that pertains to what you do on a daily, so educate people. I used to, when I got started on Instagram, I was a trainer, and it was just me, my clients, you know what I mean? And it was like, yo, check out this ab circuit that I had people do, yada, yada, yada. Post all of that stuff. Let people see you doing it and putting people who look like them in those communities you're talking about through these workouts, you know what I mean? Talk about it. Talk about diabetes. Talk about heart disease. You gotta talk about all these things because, there's a lot of people who's into fitness to look a certain way, but there's a lot of people who need to be into fitness to be healthy, right? And that's more important, in my opinion. So a lot of what I do, like a lot of my content has shifted a lot, right? Everybody know me for overtraining, doing crazy shit, but now it's more health, more like I'm putting people through conditioning workouts, stuff that's gonna give them longevity. Because once I hit a certain age, I'm like, yo, I gotta shift things around. And also, like in 2016, I started getting blood work done regularly. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not as healthy as I thought I was, right? That's a big thing, telling your people about blood work, getting educated on that, and having people do it. Because people don't know how healthy they are if they're not getting blood work done until they're really sick. Because you'll feel fine, right? So all of that stuff is important, just educate people, If it's important to you to educate them, you'll do it, Yeah.
All right, so Tammy, you got
This one's more for the CEOs. Can you talk about this as like a spin-off of the athlete's question about plateaus in your training? So can you talk about a time in your businesses when you maybe had a plateau or like a rough quarter and what you did to get through and how, obviously you're all successful now, so how you got through it?
I'll take this one first. And I won't even say a plateau, I'll say getting started. A big thing is realizing your strengths and weaknesses and building a team to be able to complement those things. And when I first started in the industry was with HPN, and that was in 2010. And I spent all my time, about a year or so, developing what I thought would be the products everyone wanted. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna put all this together. Instagram wasn't really popping yet, but I'm gonna put all this together and then it's gonna be the best and everyone's just gonna come buy it. And I realized that that did not happen. In fact, no one bought it outside of my group of stores that I was a partner in. We moved plenty of it there, but I had a lot of trouble communicating my message outward. And it was when I realized that I needed a team of people who had different strengths that we really were able to take off. So whenever you hit a plateau in the gym, oftentimes pounding on that exercise isn't the way to overcome it. There's other exercises that you can use. Similarly, when I hit a plateau and I couldn't figure out what was next, I had to get help. And one of the best things that's happened is developing partnerships with people who are effective at communicating messages, so we could be a team. And I could focus on the back end and the operations and the quality control, the manufacturing, product development that we wanted to make together. If it's Mike and I, every product starts together of some area of interest to us that we feel like we can provide value. But then communicating the message outward, it's like, okay, here's the things that I want to talk about. Let's figure out how to make that into a message people will be receptive to. And so it's like the same, we're not talking about lifting, but it's the same thing. You usually got to go around and figure out, you got to Google it, you got to figure out what's the way that you can attack this plateau and take it on and really overcome it. And for me, that was through partnerships.
And I can attest to that because my previous company, I used to be super proud that I was doing this on my own and doing that on my own. But I got to a certain point to where my business wasn't growing, that part of the business. I felt like things were starting to fade business-wise for that. And I was starting to get stressed out and feel burnt out. Like, I don't know what else I need to do. And it's getting involved, getting other people on the team. And even Sean and I, we've been friends for a long time, but we've been doing business, for a couple years now. And over time, we've developed like our actual team. And we have like the best, in our offices, we're in there with the team. Like we're not in our spaces in the office. We're in there with everybody else because the vibe is so strong, so much creativity going on in this room, and we love it. We're just out there. It's like generals on the front line in war. We all out with everybody. So we love it. Just developing that team and having really good people, talented people, and not trying to find people that can do exactly what we can do. Finding people that love doing their thing and really good and supporting them at what they do, and it's reciprocated and it just makes a powerful situation.
Cool. You want to go?
Yeah. Like everybody kind of said here, I mean, there's plateaus. There's always plateaus, whether it's training, whether it's marriage, relationships, business. Everybody has different parts of businesses here, and maybe different things that happen behind the scenes. And just like when you hit a plateau when you're training, pounding that exercise or that muscle group or doing the same thing, trying to lift more weight, typically is not the best way to get it changed. Just like dieting, it's just changing what you're doing, changing your training protocol, changing your diet, adding some more of this, taking some of this out, doing more reps, lighter weight, et cetera, et cetera. Well, same thing in business. And a lot of businesses, times we're chasing a carrot. We're chasing a number, we're chasing a goal, trying to hit an expectation. Some of us might have equity partners in our business, investors, and there's budgets and things like that. And a lot of times you got to stop, get in a room, like these guys say, get everybody in that room, and say, what have we been doing for the past 90 days? And a lot of times you find you've been doing the same thing. You're focusing on the same thing. You're spending your time on the same thing. And sometimes it's just a reallocation of time and energy, a slight shift somewhere else, which could get you over that plateau. And a lot of things start with senior leadership in businesses, but it's a lot of the people in that business that are passionate, that eat, breathe, and sleep your business. You get them in a room, ask them what they see that the company's been doing for a while, get their input on some changes, and typically it's something very simple.
Cool. All right, we got about 10 more minutes. We're gonna stop at 12:45, so probably got a couple more questions. Kenton said he had one, so we're gonna go here.
So Julian, you and I have talked about this a lot. Doug, we talked about it a lot. Lauren, we talked about it a little bit last night. One of the most bizarre, aspects of being an influencer is there's an equivocation between influencer and expert. So all you guys have people popping up on your pages asking you questions about topics that aren't in your field of expertise. And this doesn't happen in any other social context. Someone doesn't go up to an astrophysicist and ask them a question about advanced genomics or something. So how do you guys make a decision about when to comment and when not to when you're asked a question that falls outside your domain of expertise or what you think you're most knowledgeable in?
Personally, I don't talk about things that I don't know what I'm talking about, you know? And if someone's in the DM asking me a specific question like that, I'll tell them, I don't know, or let me get back with you, let me find out. So I'm honest with people. I don't know it all, you know? So I don't put myself out there like an expert in this and that, you know? And I'll speak on things that I know about, you know?
I actually look forward to these opportunities because it's part of how we grow in our network. If someone's asking about something that we don't have a competency in and it's relevant, then we're going to find out the answer. And oftentimes that makes a new connection. I mean, we had a business example. We had a product that was moving just at a regular rate in comparison to the rest of our line. It was a little bit slow. And because we needed a certain type of content, we sought out someone and developing that content with them so we could answer these questions for people. That product skyrocketed. So it actually led to new growth for us. So don't be afraid of what you don't know. You have to seek out the answer. It might start on Google, but it might end in a meaningful relationship, you know, or partnership or some kind of a beneficial situation for you and someone else. Because someone does love what you don't know. And that's what Mike said. We want people on our team who love what they do. So whether that's coding or videography or graphic design or whatever, or supply chain or warehousing, whatever it is, they gotta love what they do or be able to act like they do, or else they're not gonna last very long with us. And you know, these opportunities where you don't know something, you can grow your network from them.
You know, one of my pet peeves, I think, is, especially in this industry, too many of us think we know everything. And I think it takes a bigger man and woman to say, you know what, I don't know that. I find a lot with my questions, and I'm sure like you guys, I get hundreds a day. People see DR and they want to ask me medical questions. I have no problem with saying that's out of my area of expertise. I would never give somebody advice that I don't know about. But at the same token, if it is something I'm an expert on, then I'm going to give you sound, thorough advice. Sometimes I may refer you to a study. I may refer you to a link. Because again, I may know a little bit about it, but I read this study and it's better for me just to send you there. So again, I think as you get in this industry, don't know everything. When you think you know everything, it's time for you to go do something else.
Okay. It's going to be more important.
No. Okay, so a big thing with social media is, like you just said, a lot of people think that they know everything, but kind of snowballing off of that, a lot of people, like influencers specifically, will read one article about something and then all of a sudden just completely change their mind on a subject, like BCAAs, which we talked about briefly yesterday. So I think it's really important to talk about. I think if you guys have any questions about BCAAs, just ask him. But if on top of asking other people, do your own research and kind of try and figure things out in a way where you trust the information, you trust the source, and don't believe everything that you see. Don't be so quick to change your mind, or, this girl says that BCAAs are bullshit, so I think that they're bullshit and I'm going to stop using them now. There's so much of that on social media and there's so much misinformation, so I think a lot of it, on top of asking someone else, is to do your own research and find a good podcast or find a good article, a quality source, and kind of do your own digging on top of asking people that you trust in the industry as well. But don't believe everything you see.
So one thing that I was going to say on this is having a training, kind of like a training-based page. Like, it's rare that I post pictures. It's more like only my training videos and whatnot. But I get people that will ask me questions about like, hey, I blew my back out. Think I can still do that? I wouldn't. But I would talk to your doctor about it. There's people that know. There's people out there that are so educated in that. I don't know that. You know what I mean? But I really liked what Mr. Mountain Dog said earlier about like one of his products where it's like, oh well, there's no test done on that. it's like, well, I don't give a shit because that's what I like. So, and just to touch on what she said earlier about like, and I do not take offense to this, you know, she can kick my ass. But the weird exercises thing, people will come over there and they're like, man, you do some weird shit. And I think to myself, like, you mean the shit from the 60s that I didn't invent? Because that's the sissy squat, you know what I mean? Mountain dog trains very similar to how I do with like knee over toe movements and stuff like that. And there's a lot of information out there, but we were talking about the knee over the toe movement last night when we were all walking around, and you just believe the one article you read in like the 90s, and it's like, that stuff, it's kind of like cell phones and technology. The second you got it figured out, it's like you already have an old iPhone. You know what I mean? Like, there's a new iPhone out and there's new studies, you know what I mean? And I like the idea of people coming over to these people and asking questions. I really love the idea of pointing out when you don't know what the hell you're talking about, because that makes you, on like a following and influencing standpoint, now you're lower, not like you're lowering yourself, but you seem more attainable, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be the dude who knows everything, because then you're never learning, dude. I was telling somebody at the Anaheim Expo the other day, I was like, some of the best training advice that I ever got was from some 16-year-old kid that I was watching bench at a gym one day. I went up to him. He didn't even know who the hell I was. I was like, no big deal. I was like, what are you doing there, man? I really like that. And he was explaining to me, because he was a young powerlifter, he's a football player. And I used some of that, and I was like, damn, dude. I actually told him afterwards. I was like, that was really cool, man. I really appreciate that. And I like the idea of people not knowing everything, because nobody does. And it's always changing. It's okay to ask questions and stuff, but it's always nice to be modest enough to say you don't know. But if you are confident in what you do, like with the weird exercise and stuff, it's kind of like Doug. No, I get it. It's a good point though, because I look at like somebody like Doug Miller, and he has a very aggressive, intense way that he trains. But like, let's say Doug had, and I've never seen you like train arms or anything except in your videos, but like, let's say Doug had really poor form when he trained biceps. But look at his arms. What are you going to say to Doug about his poor training? His arms are bigger than everybody in this whole place, you know what I mean? So there's certain people that know their body extremely well. That's why everything on my site and what I do, I go, this is how I train. You don't like training like this? Go to somebody else's stuff. And everything that's on our site, it's just what I like to do, and the, you know, the variations and everything like that. But I'm very aware of what I know, and I'm very, very knowledgeable of everything I don't know.
I appreciate what you said, and that whole approach with the weird exercises, that's actually a good thing. Like, this is the issue that I have. This is something that people gotta really free their mind of. You know, everybody's like, oh, that's bro science. That's bro science. I'm like, what? Think you for myself? Okay, I'm a bro scientist then. I'll openly accept that, because I kind of developed my training the way I train on my own. Just always trying to be strong. Like, since I was a kid, I always wanted to be strong. Excuse me. And over the years, my little weird shit worked out for me, right? So, and I was a trainer for a long time, and it worked for my people. And I tell people all the time as well, this might not be for you then, you know? And that's okay. And I don't knock any training style. I think Guy was talking about the people that do the machines. I don't give a fuck if people do machines. You know what I mean? I used to never touch machines. Now I'll add them in here and there, you know, especially if I'm in a hurry or out of town or something. But I really don't care what anybody do. Like, whatever you want to do, you should do it. You know, if you ask me, I'm gonna give you my little spin on things. This work for me, take it. Not, no biggie. I don't care. Like you said, what I lift don't make you buff, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So when people are running around deeming bro science on everybody, especially people that look better than them, you gotta really look at that. You know what I mean? And there's no one book that's gonna tell you how to train. I was never a little bit about when I was a trainer, and I was always just a savage in the gym. I love training, right? And I love, you know, maybe some ego shit too. I like outdoing everybody. So there was these guys in my gym at Metroflex Long Beach where I started out, and they would have their books all the time, and they're writing their percentages and this, that, and the third. And they had the Romanians, whatever, and all of the different names for everything, right? So me and my boy Big Rob, we trained early in the morning before those guys got there. So they just assumed I was just a bench press and curl guy. So they were always, one guy would always call me out when they would squat. Like, why don't you squat with us, bro? Why don't you squat with us? And this one day I was like, all right, fuck it, let's go. And I trained Blaze that day already. So he had, you know, he's one of those guys, you ever see the guys, you know, with the books and all that, all the gear and shit, and you do a squat, and when they come up, they got a weak core, so they like, right? So I was like, this is gonna be funny. And it was on 315, he'll get it for like 2, a struggle 2. I just went and did it 20 times. I have scratch every time. You know what I mean? Just to shut them up, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't know how I train. You may not think that since what I do don't have some term and all this shit, but so what? This is what I do, and I might be good at what I do. And the end result, like you said, is who looks better, who can outdo each other, you know what I'm saying? I'm performance-based. I like to get I take pride in not being the biggest guy, but trying to be one of the strongest guys at any given time, at any gym I'm in. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's a little thing of mine. So, yeah, I'm a bro scientist. It is what it is.
All right, cool. We're gonna do one more question.
I was going to say really quickly, back to the original question. All of us, I think, are lucky enough that we have inner circles where if we don't know something, we have somebody who does. So training is not my expertise at all. So I can ask John or Guy or anyone up here, and I can say, hey, I'm going to ask this question, or I tag that person who asked me a question in a post that somebody else did to give them the right information. So we're lucky enough to do that. So anytime I don't know something, I try and refer them to somebody who does, especially somebody who's credible. Anyone.
That's a really good point. All right, one more question, and then immediately after this, we're gonna take a massive picture, Nut Bash 2019, and then Chris Duffin's seminar, deadlift seminar is going over in the other tent at the Build Fast Formula table and booth set up. That's from 1 to 2, and then we're training at Iron Asylum Gym at 2:30. So one more question, picture, deadlift seminar, Iron Asylum 2:30. Whose hand? This guy, you had a question earlier, so go ahead. Be loud.
So this is like kind of a follow-up question to the specialty, knowing your area. So I'm a pharmacy student, like my 4th year pharmacy school. I'm curious to know, this is kind of like for you, I guess.
Say it a little loud.
So like, what kind of area would a pharmacy student or somebody with a science background be able to go into within each of like the industry or in your CEO, as a CEO basically?
So I know for us, you know, when we do hire, you know, people who are either studying pharmacy, you'd be a good fit in research and development or in quality control. You know, obviously you're learning about measurements, you're learning about dosing. So it kind of fit, even though we're not doing drugs, we're doing supplements, we look at it from the same standpoint. But that would give you a good education, give you a little bit of background about, you know, some testing equipment, things that may help you, again, as you work on to become a pharmacist.
Yeah, anyone that has a differential degree other than, you know, exercise science, so someone like you that's pharmacy or chemistry, biology, something like that, you add a different aspect to a team. Like we all talk about having a good team around you. To a team, to formulation, like you said, R&D, maybe instrumentation, maybe you work in a QC lab and help with co-manufacturing. I do some of that on the side as well. So just your knowledge base of, you know, biochemistry and pharmacokinetics and how things work, you bring an added value to any supplement company that's willing to see that in you, and you can help with developing products and formulation because you know how these things interact, how long they last, when you take this versus that, and all those things. So I think I'm all about people like you that are into the science and know what they're doing, having on my team.
All right, thanks guys, that's a wrap. We appreciate all of you.